For this week's art lesson, you guys are going to be needing a black piece of paper, a white crayon, a sponge that is cut into a smaller rectangle or square, and then you're going to need some white paint on a paper plate. And you won't need very much. So start with a little bit, and that way you can always add more if you need as you go. First, we're going to start to draw the castle. Your castle does not have to look exactly like mine, but I'm going to show you the basics on how to do this. Hopefully you practiced last week. So the first thing we're going to do is on the bottom of our paper, we're going to draw a line, a horizontal line that is straight. There we go, that's better. Now you guys can see it. And then we're going to be making vertical lines. Vertical lines are lines that go up. And you're going to connect it to your horizontal line. We want to make this symmetrical, and we learned that symmetry means the same on both sides. So about the same height on the other side, you're going to make another vertical line. And this is where you can make the top of the castle that goes up and down. So the easiest way to do that is to make dashed lines going all the way across to the other side. And then you're going to connect it using a U shape. So down, over, and up. It's kind of like a U. And you're going to do that on all of them, in between the spaces here, down, over, and up. Now we have the very distinguished castle look to it. The number of towers you create is going to be up to you. I'm going to make 2 towers on each side and maybe some other ones in the back. So over here I'm going to extend this vertical line up, make a horizontal line to the left, and I want you to go almost to the very edge of the paper and make another vertical line that goes down. Do the same thing on the other side. About the same height and to the edge of the paper. Make your lines as straight as you can. I'm going to make my towers a little bit taller, so I'm going to add another rectangle, but it's going to be thinner on top. Then on top of the tower, I'm going to make another vertical line up and vertical line up. And we're going to make that castle line using a dashed line again, connecting it to the other side. And then your U shape, so down, over, and up. Same thing on the other side since it is symmetrical. Two vertical lines, connect with a dashed line. And then your U shape that goes down, over, and up. I'm pressing pretty hard with my crayon too so that white shows up. Now for the middle of the castle, I want another tower, or I guess part of the building that goes up a little bit higher. Not as high as the other ones though. So I'm going to go over here and make a vertical line that goes up, and this part of the building is going to look like it is behind this bottom portion. So 2 vertical lines that are about the same height. Do the same castle line using dashed lines. And connect down, over, up. Let's go a little bit higher. We're going to make another vertical line and vertical line. This time we're going to connect with a straight line, horizontal, and we used a lot of rectangles in our artwork. We're going to use another shape. This one's going to be a triangle. So I want you to make a triangle shaped roof on top. We're going to be adding flags to this next time, so we're not going to add any flags right now. Eventually we're going to cut this out and then add some flags after. But right now what we need is, we're missing some windows and doors. And on castles, older buildings used a lot of arches. So arches are just curved rainbow lines and then a flat horizontal line on the bottom. You can make as many windows as you want. It does not have to look exactly like mine. I'm going to put some windows over here too. In castles, they had big curved doors. So in the middle, I'm going to make a rainbow line for that arch. And castles were made out of concrete, but their doors were usually made out of wood, wooden planks that went up vertically. So make straight lines for your door. And you can add a handle or two if you want. You could also add more windows if you wanted to the bottom building. After you're done with drawing your castle, take your little sponge, and we're going to be making our concrete blocks with our sponge, and we're going to do a stamping technique. So using your sponge, I want you to dip it into the white paint, and you can look at it to make sure it's covered. If your sponge is too big for your artwork, you can always cut it in half again. Once you have the paint on there, I want you to start stamping, press, and lift. You can do this a couple times for your concrete blocks. And then when it starts to look like it needs more paint, you can dip it in again. Now if you have a thin area Like, I'm not going to be able to fit my sponge right here because then I'll cover up the window. Turn your sponge and then you can make your concrete block go up. Castles that were made out of wood could easily burn, but then they started to make them out of concrete or stone, and so they wouldn't burn down. Let's see if I can fit one right here. Yep. So I want you to fill in all the areas with your white sponge so you can make your blocks. Castles were also made out of concrete or stone because that way they were very sturdy, they were very strong, and they could last a little bit longer. Now these areas that were way too small for my sponge, what I'm going to do is wait until this is dry, and then I can go back in and I can fill in these spaces with crayon, white crayon, and I can color it in. Same thing for the roof. I can come here and I can fill it in because my sponge wasn't able to fit in these smaller areas. So the white crayon shows up really well on the black paper, and that way you can come in here and just fill it in with your white crayon. I'm gonna leave my windows black. Maybe later on I can fill them in with a different color if I wanted to, but for now I'm just going to color in the rest of the castle with a white crayon. Next time you guys have art class, when this is all dry and you have finished with your paint, we're going to be using scissors. We're going to cut this out very carefully. It's going to be tricky, especially around these small little details. You're going to need construction paper for whatever type of colored flag you would like to add. So we're going to add flags on top with colored construction paper. And you're going to need glue as well.